What should we do for a thumbnail? The whisper. I don't know. I wish I had like a hockey stick.
I have one in the car. I do.
Do you have more than one?
Just one. Just Paul's.
Bummer.
Yes, there's also the hockey helmet in there.
Well, that's not going to fit on my head.
Yeah.
He's tiny.
All the hockey gear's in there.
I'm not opposed to a hockey stick. How do we feel about going to get it?
I can go get it. But,
Paul will be so thrilled his hockey stick was in a thumbnail.
He was very upset that he was not going to be included.
He could have come.
He's with Steve tonight, so.
Yeah, bummer. Welcome back to Ever It Is Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Ever It Is Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be talking about Miracle and we have Erin. She's back. So let's get right into it. Miracle is a 2004 theatrical release. It is directed by Gavin O'Connor, cinematography by Dan Stoloff, editing by John Gilroy and Daric, music by Mark Isham, and it's written by Eric Guggenheim. The film stars Kurt Russell as Coach Herb, Noah Emmerich as Coach Craig, Eddie Cahill as Jim Craig, Patrick O'Brien Demsey as Rizzo, Michael Mantenuto as OC, Kenneth Mitchell as Cox, and Patricia Clarkson as Patty. The film is based off the 1980 Olympic gold medal American hockey team who won over the Soviets, and their win over the Soviets was dubbed the Miracle on Ice. It had a $28 million budget and made $64.5 million in the box office. Kurt Russell was wanted from the beginning, and then the director decided it would be easier to teach real hockey players to act than to teach actors how to play hockey, so he wanted to go with real hockey players to get a more natural and raw feeling. There was a team called the Real Sports Solutions that came in and they talked to the real Herb Brooks about plays, practices, equipment, and everything. Every fight and stunt was choreographed through the nines, and everyone went through a 6-week training camp to relearn the game in old equipment. All the games were recreated in British Columbia. Al Michaels did come in and re-record all of his television broadcasts, except for the iconic Do You Believe in Miracles, because the crew and Al both agreed that there was no way he would be able to recreate that genuine excitement and moment that happened for him. The real Herb Brooks died just after principal photography before this movie came out, and it has an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. When I was reading this, I've already said this, it said that they wanted to get hockey players and teach them how to act instead of get actors to teach to play hockey, but I know Eddie Cahill from like Friends, so I thought that was interesting. So I think maybe he just used to play hockey and then was in this. But no matter what, I'm sure a bunch of the other people on the ice were real hockey players, and some of the performances he got out of the hockey players, even in small shots, like some of the Soviet players being like disappointed or angry or whatever else, were really well done. And I kind of sort of gotta give credit to the director for that, because he had to have coached them through that. This is going to be kind of, maybe you probably wouldn't have noticed this, but right off the bat, such incredibly close-up shots. Like the meeting right at the beginning with Coach interviewing to be the coach for the Olympic team. The shots are so tight right away. There's like no establishing, basically, which is really rare. Normally, the way a scene goes is establishing shot, maybe like medium shot, close up, and then maybe you could work in like an extreme close up, and then you bounce between it, and you don't really ever go back to the establishing shot until like maybe the end to like let the scene breathe or whatever. So for it to just immediately jump in to like extreme close up on Kurt Russell, I was like, this is very off-putting. But then later it kind of like really worked. Especially, like, I couldn't get over the coverage and the cinematography in the games. Mm-hmm. Like, they were in the game. They were on the ice with the players, like, and even, yeah, there were some wide shots of the game, of course, because you gotta break away to something so you don't feel like you're getting attacked on the ice. But the movement and the coverage, like the handheld and the movement and just all of it was so well covered, like they had everything to cut to. They could cut to anything and everything of their choice, and I just thought that was incredible. even though the close-ups right at the very beginning were like a little off-putting to me because I was like, whoa, why are we like all up in his face already? That's so weird. But visually speaking, I do think the movie is stunning.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that the amount of what you see on the ice and kind of that intensity that you get from that is different than what you see in other films.
Yeah. The edit truly shines in the game sequences, specifically the last 30 minutes of this movie. The movie is long. Please let that be known. It's like 2.5 hours, I think, around that mark. 2 hours, 17 minutes, or 2.5.
I think
it might be like 2:17.
2:17.
Which is long. And for a while, I was like, yo, where are we going? Like, this is like, I know we're leading up to, obviously, the iconic Soviet versus USA game, but for a while, like, probably from the halfway point until, like, there were 40 minutes left of the movie, I was a little like, okay, it's dragging a little bit for me, at least, which I think was an edit problem. But then, 40 minutes until the end of the movie, the game, I didn't realize how much of the game between the Soviets and the USA we were gonna get. And it feels like the entire game.
Yeah.
Like, but like in the best way. Like, it's not a 2-hour hockey game. Not that, I mean, I guess hockey games for 2 hours, but it's not like a true, like, whole incredibly long hockey game. But that last 40 minutes of this movie is, like, incredibly edited. The pacing for this last game, I was on the edge of my seat, and I know, like, it's a 1980 Olympic gold medal USA hockey team. Like, I knew the outcome. I've heard the stories. I've heard do you believe in miracles? Like, I knew they were going to win, and I was still, like, every time they scored, I was like, yes! I literally was, like, cheering every time they scored. I was so stressed. Anytime anything, like, the amount of times the Soviets, like, shot and Craig was, like, blocking block. I was like, I'm too stressed for this. I was like, I am stressed. Even though I knew they were going to win, which purely means the edit is so well done. For me to know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to win. I know it. But still be so stressed. Be cheering when they're scoring. And, like, that is truly, like, way to be a master of your craft, I think, the edit. Like, especially that last game is incredible.
Yeah. I was watching it at that point with Paul and Emmerich.
Amazing.
Because they wanted snuggle time.
Well, and also it's hockey, so
yeah.
I don't think they're going to be disappointed.
So we were watching it, and every time they scored, like, I would cheer. At one point, Paul was like, do you know what's going to happen? And I was like, yeah, I've seen the movie. I'm like, but it's just so intense.
Were they cheering? Did they not care?
Yeah, they did care. So, it was just, like, intense, and just watching, I mean, that scene with Eddie was just, like...
Were they kept, like, at gym? Were they kept just shooting?
Yeah.
I literally, like, that entire, like, I think he got, like, MVP or something. Like, he went on to whatever. But I literally, like, every time they just, like, rallied at him, I was like, this is the greatest goalie in the entire universe.
Yes.
I was like, there's no way there's a better goalie than this. Like, how?
Yeah. It was just nuts. And, like, every 30 seconds, 30 to 40 seconds.
Oh, yeah, when they, like, he was, like,
out.
switch every 30 to 40 seconds. That was crazy.
It was, like, it was so much going on, and I just remember sitting with Paul and being like, they get here because they trained so much, and they can do it, and, just seeing it all happening and all the intensity and, like, it all building. It was just...
That literally, this movie... if you just took that final game sequence, it's like a masterpiece. That final game sequence. Like, the rest of the movie is fine. It's good. But that final game sequence, that last, 30 to 40 minutes is incredible. Like, it's just, like, a masterpiece in editing speaking. Because, wow. I would watch that last 40 minutes over and over and over again and probably still cheer every time they score because I'm just like, oh my god, this is insane. But I love it. I love that the boys were like, I'm like, Paul was probably like, ooh, hockey. I know hockey. I like hockey. Paul plays hockey. I thought it was interesting that they opened with, like, all these historical events because I get, obviously, like, it's an historical event that the USA won over the Soviets. Like, it was like a miracle on ice, as they say.
Yeah.
But I thought it was still interesting that they opened with all these, like, in, like, huge historical events, like the wars and the bombings and, like, you know, all that kind of stuff, and moon landing, whatever else. I thought it was interesting they started it that way, and I was, like, all the news coverage, and I was like, oh, like, okay, where are we going? Like, all right. And then, obviously, we get the opening we get, so I just thought it was interesting that they chose to start that way, and I don't know if that was a writing choice or so much a director and editor choice, but no matter, I just thought that was an interesting little moment. And then a big, like, line that kind of stuck out to me was, if they hate him, they won't have time to hate each other. And I was like, dang.
Yeah.
That's good. I was like, that's really good. Like, I get it. That's nice. Because it really stuck out to me when the other coach, I forget his name, when he was,
Patrick.
Yeah, when he was like, is he like this with his college game? Like, and the other guy was like, no, he's never been like this. But if they hate him, they can't hate each other. Oh, and then the other big moment for me, another one was, when he's drilling them after that game, and he finally that one kid goes, my name's so-and-so, and he goes, who do you play for? And he says, the United States of America, where it, like, finally clicked that they were supposed to be saying the United States of America, not their college team that they played for. Oh, that was so powerful and so good. There's apparent death, technicality. Jim Craig, they talk about Jim Craig's mom dying of cancer, sad. Which obviously really happened then, because it's a true story. And then, writing-wise, I obviously don't have, like, a lot of, like, oh, what a bad story, because it's based on true events. But I do think it worked hand in hand with the edit to create such incredible tension between, and, like, writing-wise, more between the characters. You know, some, like, the tension of the two guys that used to be rivals, but then now they have to come together, and, like, later in the film, they're like, we're a family. Like, that's, like, ooh, yes. The writing of, like, that growth, I think is really well done.
Yeah. I actually very much enjoyed the beginning, the opening montage. I think it was used to kind of tell a story of where America was at and why it was so important.
Ooh, I love that.
When this happened, because it brought America together. There were so many things going on, protesting, you know, changes in policy, all these things. But then I also referenced pop culture things, like the Coneheads. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes, of course,
and
Coneheads.
I was like, for me, I was like...
And they brought that in because those three players, they end up calling the Coneheads.
But I was like, I was so confused for a second, because the only reference at that point, or I didn't realize at that point, was the movie in the 90s. So I was like, why is that there?
Oh, and Saturday Night Live.
And then I learned it was from Saturday Night Live. But, like, I really think it was meant to kind of set the stage of
that's an amazing point.
The U.S. was at that point, and why it's not just a miracle that we just beat Russia in this game, but also the miracle that the United States needed to really start to bring people back together.
That's an incredible point. I didn't even think about that, but I totally agree. Yeah. And I look at that opening montage with a totally different...
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know. I enjoyed it all, kind of just kind of how everything flowed together, and how we got to see what really felt like strong interactions. Like the scene in Sweden is like very, very intense, and to like continuously watch it and see how far and how much they're going to push themselves, and how stubborn are you going to be, and like until you realize, like, you know, because you think, like, when they start doing these introductions, you think it's just so obvious that they should say that they play for Team USA, because
I didn't think about it until he was until that moment when he said, "Who do you play for?" I was like, "Oh my God, they're supposed to be saying USA."
Yeah, I don't know, when they started doing it, I was like, "Well, you don't play for those teams now. You play for this team."
True. So, yeah, I hadn't thought of it. I thought he was like, let's get to know each other. Who do you play for? Like, where'd you come from? So I was thinking, just like all of them.
Yeah.
And then not until that moment when he said, "Who do you play for?" I was like, oh my God, I would have been this kid. I would have been like, yo, we're supposed to say USA. Oh my God, we get out of this way.
But just to see, like, and wonder, I mean, it had to have happened that way, and the reactions of, you know, the doctor and Coach Patrick, and the fact that, I mean, he's telling them to, Herb is telling him to do it again, but Coach Patrick actually has to take the action to do it, and not ultimately go against his judgment.
Right. That is such a tense scene, in the fact that, like, he's not only, like, he's pushing them physically, he's pushing Coach Patrick mentally.
Yep.
And, like, how far are you willing to go with me to get this team where they need to be, which is so incredible as well. Yeah, I agree with you. Kurt Russell, fantastic job. He obviously changed, like, he just changed the way he spoke, I feel like, a little bit with the Minnesotan accent. And then changed his body, I think, a little, because, I mean, at this time he was really doing, like, all his action movies. So he had, like, his mullet for a while, I remember. So he really changed his look for this. And I think I remember my coworker. I told my coworker I was going to watch this movie that it had Kurt Russell in it. And he was like, oh, 2000s Kurt Russell? He looked good. And I was like, he's pretending to be a real person. And he was like, oh, okay, never mind. He probably doesn't look that good. And I was like, not to be mean to Herb. Didn't look that good. But he does a fantastic job. I think also the other coaches do a great job, but I think truly the hockey players are standout stars, especially the hockey players that, like, were hockey players only and brought in to be actors. Like, I can't get over, like, some of their reactions and some of how they do, like, the one kid who hurts his knee. I think he gives a great performance. Obviously, Eddie Cahill gives a great performance, but we've seen him in other things, so we know he's a pretty big actor town.
Well, I think they can pull from a lot of
personal game experience,
competition, having, you know, just that experience of probably they had games where they were bitter about what happened.
Yeah. Or they had rivals, or they had games where they hurt themselves, or whatever it might be. So I'm sure the director was like, remember that? We're gonna make it happen here, and you're gonna give me that performance. And they're like, okay. Choreography and stunts. I know we semi-touched on it with, like, the cinematography and the edit, but truly, the fact that they choreographed everything to a T, trained everyone on the specific choreography, so no accidents happened, no one got truly injured, anything like that. Whoa, breathtaking, incredible, amazing. Like, I'm not over it. I think that's the fact that every shot, Xander, that every shot of them on the ice is choreographed. That took a lot of time, and it paid off. Yes.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it was intense to watch. Just interesting to see, like, what you could do, and with what accuracy you could do it in.
Yes.
So
I agree. Like, it looks so real. Like, it truly feels like there was no way they could have filmed multiple takes of all those things and gotten the same thing every time. But, like, the reality is they probably did, because of how much they choreographed it to a T.
I was when we were watching it, or Paul and Emery were watching it with me, we were talking about like what we were seeing, and if it was like the real footage. And I had to look at it, and I was like, no, this is them portraying it. But then there was, like, the news anchors on the TV, and I was like, that's probably actual footage from the news. So I was like, it was just interesting to I had to think about, I was like, I don't know if this is, because, you know, when they do this, when you do, like, a biopic type film, they tend to bring in kind of
So Al Michaels, the guy who did the famous Do You Believe in Miracles and was the commentator on the game, re-recorded all of his commentary except the Do You Believe in Miracles, because they all agreed that there was no way he'd ever be able to recreate his real, like, Do You Believe in Miracles. So he did come in and recreate, like, re-record all of his commentary that he did for that game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they had the recording of it. So I don't know if the actual footage of him, though, was re-recorded or not.
Well, there was a scene where two guys were in a blue shirt.
Yeah.
And it was a news scene, and they were talking about what was going on. That, I think,
so it might have been archival footage. Yeah. Right, exactly. I think it was definitely a blend of all things. But also, movies they'll get away with anything, man. They'll recreate stuff and you'll have no idea they've recreated something.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have never guessed that they got Al Michaels to come in and re-record all of his commentary except, like, the iconic one, just so they could have crisper sound for the movie. Mm-hmm. I never would... Totally would have gone over my head if I hadn't read it. That's crazy. What'd you think of Miracle, Aaron?
I really enjoyed it. It was intense, and I don't know, I didn't feel like really anything was specifically slow or I wasn't engaged. I started watching it while Paul was at practice, but I wasn't really paying attention. So when I got home, I started again from the beginning. So, probably the first hour I saw twice in a row. But I really enjoyed it. I don't know, I think I'm a person when I watch movies, like, I've had moments when I think movies are just going on forever and they have no point. I mean, I watched one recently. But this one, like, I know you said that you had some slow moments, but I just didn't. I think I wasn't
bored. There was just, like, in between halfway and the 40 minutes left, I was like, oh, it feels like just a little long, but, like, not that it wasn't necessarily unneeded or boring or anything like that. It was just like, okay, the movie is kind of long. I think
I kind of want to know, like, a little bit more about, like, we saw them cutting people, but we really didn't see other than them leaving and being crossed off, which I don't know if you noticed that with the list, that they use the same list, and in the first scene where you see him marking it off, he's marked off more names, and then in the second one, he's only marking off that one name, but it has the same names on it.
I didn't notice that. Good catch.
I just caught it by random. But I don't know. I guess I kind of maybe see a little bit more. That's probably where that in-between was happening, where we just didn't see a lot of that piece. Or even I'm sure he was just like Ralph and didn't, and that's why he got sent home. But it would have been interesting to know, like, if there was any more to that story.
True. Yeah.
So, but I enjoyed it.
And so you had seen this before?
A long time ago.
Yeah. I assume when it came out.
Not when it came out. I watched it on VHS, I'm pretty sure, but...
Wow, okay. Do you have any memories of doing that or no?
I remember the movie, and I remember a lot of the scenes and stuff like that.
Did you like it then as well?
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Does it have, like, any different, like, feeling now that you have a kid in hockey? Like...
I think that more than anything, I mean, Paul's having a little struggle with doing his, like, the skills classes because we're in between seasons, and it's challenging him, and so he gets in his mood about it sometimes. And so it was more of like, I was like, they see how much work that they have to do. It's not just playing the game. They have to really work on their skating and work on their shooting skills and doing that. And I watched him the other day, and just watching him, I can tell he's improved so much. But I think it just kind of
he's a 10-year-old kid who wants to be good right away, but then it's like, okay, fine, I'll practice, but also I'm sick of practicing, I want to play a game. But then also, okay, I see myself improving.
He's like, I'm not going to play it when I'm an adult. I'm like, you might play it through college, and you're going to have to put the work in to,
depending on what he wants to do.
So I was like, you just, it does take work. So I think that it kind of gave that perspective.
Sure. Well, that's good. That's fun. I really enjoyed this. I think there were so many pieces that I had like, ooh, yeah, that's nice. Like when the couple of guys were like talking about women in the stands and weren't paying attention to the game, and the coach, her, was so mad. I was like, yes. I was like, I'm here for this. Pay attention to what you think. You don't have to play the game when you're off the ice, then you're not going to play the game at all. Like, I thought that was really great. I also really liked the moment when the coach came in and Coach Herb came in and like yelled at them about something, and they all started to get really mad, and then he turned around and like the coach back and he's like, that'll get them going. And coach was like, yep, I'll clean it up. Like, because they needed to be like fired up for the next half, and then they won. I really loved that. And then I loved when the person in the press was like, do you want all the attention on yourself? Is that why you won't let us have access? And then the next one was the assistant coach and not him. Oh, I thought that was so funny.
And they paused and they never show he answered. He was kind of like...
He was just like, okay.
Massive pause.
I don't want you guys to distract my players.
Yes.
Like, truly. And then what I loved is, like, throughout the movie, and also, like, all they talk about when they're talking about the original story of this is how much Coach Herb focused on conditioning them, because the big thing was... Most of the time, the reason the Soviets win is because they can outskate their opponent. It's because by the third or fourth quarter, yeah, you knew what I meant.
Third period.
Yes, third period. Whatever. You knew what I meant. I don't know. My brother's a football writer. By the third period, the opposing team is so tired because they're not as conditioned as the Soviets. So at the end, when like Al Michaels' commentary was like, "Oh wow, we've never seen the team this conditioned." I was like, "It paid off. They noticed how conditioned they were." Like, yes, I was like, "It was all worth it." Like that's how I felt when he said that. And then obviously the "Do you believe in miracles?" I don't know. I hadn't realized. For some reason in my brain, it was like one final shot that like was this huge like "Do you believe in miracles?" But truly no, it was just like. For the last period, them playing defense. Like, they were like, just as long as they don't score, we keep the lead, and that's it. And that's what happened. So it was like when the time went is when he was like, oh, do you believe in miracles? Like, they just won the Olympic gold medal over the Soviets. And that, I mean, chills. So good. Granted, I was not alive, so.
Yeah, I wasn't alive either.
Yes. Woohoo! I'm not old! Aaron also wasn't alive! And the way they were able to, like, emotionally invest you in every character. Like, when the one guy got cut, and he understood, but also, like, you were like, no, keep him!
Yeah.
Like, I want him on the team! Because by that point, you also were like, they're a family. Like, you can't do this.
I know we didn't talk about it much, but I did like his scenes with his wife.
Yes,
and
absolutely agree.
Like, especially at the beginning, and they're having the argument, and
yes, yes. I had the note that I loved that when she said something to him, he didn't just like shut it down or whatever. He went in and I was like, you're right, I'm sorry, we should have talked about it. I'm asking now. Freaking Lacey. I'm asking now. Like, I was like, that's a real man. I was like, that is a real man.
But it was also interesting to see him like, oh, you'll figure it out. And P.S. not that I'm married now, but I would have been pissed. Like
100%.
I would have been like,
not dealing with that.
Not gonna say the bad word, but
yes,
yes, it would.
Bad words would have happened.
Words.
I agree. I was like, oh, this dude just went down on my liking poll, and then when he owned up and went in there and was like, yo, that was bad. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm asking now. You're right. We didn't talk about it, and he owned up to it and apologized and like realized what he had done was wrong, and let's talk about it now and all that kind of stuff, and was honest and was like, this is it for me. Yeah. I loved that honesty. I loved that rawness. And I feel like we didn't get a lot of scenes with him and his wife, but the ones we did get were great.
Yeah, impactful. They had a purpose.
The one of him before the big game on the ice skating rink with her also was just so good. How, like, because it's like she could bring him back down to earth and be like, well then... and he'd be like, okay, you're right. Way to put it in perspective for me,
There was no whipped cream.
Yes, there was no whipped cream. I loved that. Well, what would you rate it?
I don't know. Probably like... I don't know. I'd probably give it a 10.
Well, that 10, what should we do? Should we do like hockey pucks or hockey sticks?
We could do that 10 hockey pucks.
10 hockey pucks out of 10? My final rating is 9 hockey pucks out of 10. We're both giving high scores, so now you know what that means. It means you gotta go get Disney Plus, you gotta watch it. Especially that last 40 minutes. But watch the whole movie because it's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, 9 hockey pucks out of 10, 10 hockey pucks out of 10. We love that. Our total movie count is... You're 99. 600 is tomorrow. Pterodactyl is... Our cry count is. If you want to keep up with the movie I'm watching when, follow me on Instagram, Twitter. You'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put out videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No, Monday, Friday, and sometimes Wednesday, but every day for the week of guests. Follow Erin, Sweet Pea Treats Bakery 2013. Yeah. I mean, I know you're not super doing cookies. Yeah. It's on and off, but still go follow Erin over there, support. She makes bomb cookies, so when she opens that shop, you better hop on it, okay? Because they're good. I haven't had one in a while. I'm due for an Erin cookie. She also makes good cakes. Those less shipping, though. So yeah. Cookies can be shipped. Because she wraps them in bubble wrap. It's very sweet. And then thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Join Patreon. You only have a few more days left to get a benefit from the tier above whatever tier you join, which means for $1 for the entire month of August, you could get daily trivia questions. Okay? And I'm waiting until the end of August to answer all of them so y'all have all the time to go through and answer all of them. I want to see who knows what. Okay? Some of them are hard. Some of them are easy. Some of them are audio, some of them are visual, some of them are true and false, some of them are multiple choice. It's a range over there, okay? I've come up with like 300 trivia questions. Y'all need to get over there, okay? I've been doing this for a while. And buy merch. Merch is 25% off until the end of the month with code PET600. You can get this, you can get the new design, you can get all the things. Okay, that's it. Until next time, come like, subscribe. But I'm not in charge of your life, you are, so you do, and don't be... like the Soviet coach about it, maybe? But he wasn't really mean.
No.
Who was mean? Who was, like, nasty?
I mean, don't be the Soviets about it, just because they
Communism.
Just kidding. Well, no, there was that guy who slashed the guy and got the penalty, and they were being jerky, and there was
that's
one
true.
at the
like, don't be a jerk during a sporting event.
Yeah.
Or a game. Just don't be a jerk. Or in my immortal words, don't be a turd about it.
You're welcome. Love you. I hope it was okay.
Oh my god, what are you talking about? Opening my eyes with the opening? Are you kidding me? I'm standing here like, oh, I don't really understand the opening. And you're like, it really set up where America was. And I was like, oh my god, you're right. Oh my god. Flooring me with that epiphany. It's okay. She's coming back. Okay, Chaos. She's coming back. Come on. Oh my god. I'm being attacked. He's so cute. Yeah, he's so cute. Yeah. Nice drool, Lacey. Nice drool, Lacey. Who's my good girl? Who's my good girl?